Mark Who 42 would like to welcome one of our sponsors, Highlander Novelties Comics and Games. They are run by my good friends Christian and Wendy Gillespie. Christian, they are good people, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I was just about to say, I was like, I don't run that store. Or
Not
the other
you,
Christian.
the other Christian. Highlander Novelties is a one-stop shop for pop and geek culture items.
Yes.
They specialize in the unique and throwback characters from the past and present. They've got comic books. They've got decals for your car. They've got signs. They make them themselves. They have a new location at the West Oaks Mall at 9401 West Colonial Drive, Suite 520, Ocoee, Florida, 34761. That's like right outside Orlando, isn't it, Christian?
A bit northwest outside of Orlando. You can check them out on their Facebook site. Again, as Mark mentioned, they are in Ocoee, Florida. Check out their Facebook site for their business hours. Check out for also any specials going on. I believe on their site they're having a special on October the 28th for Halloween Comic
they're
Fest.
having the Halloween Comic Fest 2017 and costume contest on the 28th. Just look up Highlander Novelties in the search bar and you'll find them. And please don't forget to tell them Mark Who 42 sent you.
Hi, I'm Jamie Ingle.
And I'm Kate Wars.
And you're listening to
Mark Who 42.
Woo!
Welcome to Mark Who 42 here on Krypton Radio. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. With me today are...
Christian Basil. A little spookier this time of the year. Little spooky.
And Diggy Matthews, trying to stay away from the spooky.
So, Hurricane Maria didn't hit us, it went away, so we're good, we're all fun and excited. And today's guests are going to be, about our guests today. We were supposed to do Space Coast Comic-Con when Irma hit, and we were going to get to say hello to our friend Jamie Engel. And Jamie Engel has just been on the show on episode 193, and we were talking to her.
She's a sponsor.
She's a sponsor of Mark 42 as well.
That's right.
Right, but we were going to see her and her friend Kristen Edwards, or Kate Wars, as you may know her. They're both authors. We were going to see them, and even though we didn't get to go to Space Coast Comic-Con because it was canceled, we decided, you know what, we should talk to them and stuff. And so we're going to bring our fanboy and fangirl stuff to the show. So Jamie Engel and Christine Edwards are Kate Wars, are both on the show today, which, by the way, is the beginning of our Halloween season here on Mark Who 42. Yes, October October is our Halloween month, and we are going to have guests all the way up. We're building towards episode 200. We're almost there, and we're having Halloween, so they'll be on. But, you know what, before we do all that fun stuff, let's go to...
Wait a minute. It sounds like we're climbing out a hole. We're going to get
we're not climbing out of a hole. You know, a hole.
Oh, I'm out of the hole. Okay, we're good.
We're out of the hole. We're out of the hole. And we're out of the hurricane. So let's go to...
Speak for yourself.
Oh, no. Let's go to... Who 42 News with your anchor person, Iggy Matthews. Yeah, Iggy, we haven't actually had an anchor person in the last couple of shows, and we're glad to have you back. So what kind of news do we have today on the Mark Who 42 News, which you can find on markwho42.net, by the way?
Absolutely, you can. I'm going to start this off with 12's Darkest Hour comes to Blu-ray. markwho42.net fans and Whovians, there seems to be a leak that is not coming from the TARDIS, but another blue box.
It's something leaky.
It's leaky.
Leaky.
It's a leaky information.
It's some diapers, sorry.
You know what?
It's really not that weak.
I think WikiLeaks decided to talk about Doctor Who.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, I'm not going to spoil the entire article, but there is some sort of accidental leak.
I don't know if it was accidental. I think it's the tabloids again, and they got a synopsis and all that fun.
Well, I mean, it says it on the site to please take it with a grain of salt and watch Twice Upon a Time.
Oh, yeah.
But you want to know what the leak was? Or the possible
Please
leakage
tell us what the leak
was? You're going to have to go to markwho42.net to say.
Oh.
I'm not going to spoil it. Well, then what's the point if I tell you everything?
That's right.
There is a leak.
No,
The information's there.
There's
Do you want to see it?
So go there, go to markwho42.net and find out what this leak was.
Not that we're telling you what to do at all, but I'm telling you
Telling
to do
them
this.
what to do.
You tease.
that was the biggest tease I think we've ever done.
Does Matthew know this is how you dated?
Quite possibly.
If you want to know how really I am, look at my MySpace page. Look at all the fun I am.
Does
Oh,
MySpace
my.
still exist?
I'm kind of.
You know,
I
you
might
just,
have a
you
leak
just showed
on
our
it.
age right here because MySpace is no longer a thing anymore. It's all about the Instagram.
Oh, I'm
you
sorry.
know.
My quantum link or what? My what
Your
was
quantum leak? Oh, that
yeah,
is-
my
that is
quantum leak.
ridiculous.
With Scott Bakula, Quantum Leak.
No. There was something like back in the Commodore 64 days when they started the BBS projects. There was Quantum Link or something like that. It was basically you just put documents up or videos up and people could download them. That was it. And they
By
could
the
communicate.
By the way, MySpace is still there.
It is. I go
It
back
is.
there to look at my awful pictures from way back when. Still.
Maybe I should join to
You're-
see those pictures. What else
my-
we got, Iggy?
You should delete the accounts.
What else do we have leaking?
Why would you want to?
WikiLeaks.
It's really not that weak, but all right. David Bradley is reprising his role as the first Doctor in the first Doctor Adventures coming out January and July from Big Finish.
Wow.
So, do you guys know what that is?
Yeah, and you know what? This is actually cool because he's playing the first Doctor on Christmas on TV, and now they're going to bring him the month after that. He's going to stay the first Doctor in Big Finish. I think that's a great idea.
That's exactly the kind of fan work that we all enjoy, is find a way to give us some of our favorite content and spin it into something that we can have today, something that's still fresh and new instead of just like a rewash, you know? So this is pretty cool. Volume 1 and Volume 2 will have David joined by his co-star from An Adventure in Space and Time, paying homage to the beginning years of Doctor Who. Each of the stories is historical, focusing on tales from Earth's history pre-1963.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's before Wi-Fi, guys. Okay, that's terrifying times. So yeah, are you guys looking forward to this?
I am. The order has already been made. I've got the downloads all set to come to me when they come out.
There were two questions that have been brought up with this in particular. I know you guys already have the answer to what you're thinking. One was, is this a homage? In light of the Star Wars movie Rogue One, when they used CGIs with the Peter Cushing character and Carrie Fisher's character.
We have Tim Treloar playing John Pertwee's third Doctor, and they're not homages. They're the real thing now.
They're the real
They're
thing,
considered-
right.
So I think these are going to be considered the real thing. I mean, it is an homage, but at the same time, he is
It's
the
the
first
real
Doctor.
McCoy.
He's the new first Doctor so that they can do new stories. And I don't think that they're going to get a new second Doctor because the
Why
one that
not?
was in that docudrama I don't think was very good. And the fact that Fraser Hines does Patrick Troughton so well, I think if they do second Doctor stories that are complete dramas, they're going to use Fraser Hines to do the voice.
But what you're just saying is that they already replaced the second Doctor
Well,
with
they did
Frasier.
with Fraser Hines.
But
Right.
there's-
So
what they're saying is-
replaced William Hartnell with David Bradley now.
But the question is do we leave it alone or do we continue on with new actors, with new episodes? And who's not to say
I think
that
we can
why don't they
move
come
on.
out with, why don't they come back and bring the first Doctor back with David Bradley and just do some side episodes to expand on Hartnell's life?
Me
That's what they're
has a theory in where I kind of looked at this stuff and I'm like, I wonder if this is them kind of dipping their toes in the water for a kind of a remake of old Who. So that's kind of the first thing that went through my mind is like, are they kind of trying to go somewhere with this? Kind of like how Missy turned into Missy before we got a female doctor. So that's kind of what I was wondering, if maybe that's the direction that's going. It's just a thought.
Well, that might be the direction that they're heading, which me personally, I would like to explore. I mean, they could they get a new actor who could do the role. However, there is one doctor I think they should explore that they've been kicking the can over and over again, and he hasn't had a full-on series. I think they need to get Paul McGann back and at least give him, 2 or 3 seasons.
Oh, you're talking TV here. I see.
Yeah,
I thought we were talking audio. Okay.
Well, we were going audio, but
I would totally
I think this would
love a spin-off with the Paul McGann doctor.
Well, I mean, you think about it, audio would be the best way to do that, because if you are trying to kind of freshen up, not redo the old series, but just kind of freshen up, audio would be the best way to do it, because if you're getting good hits there, then you have incentive to put it on the big screen. And if it works there a little bit, then you have incentive to carry on with the plan.
Right.
So I don't know. I think that they might be trying to experiment with something here and see how it goes, whether they're going to make a move or not in that direction.
I'm happy with that the series is just back, and I don't mind them toying with the idea of bringing the series in another direction, whether it goes onto the silver screen or if. But I think the first thing, instead of Class, what they should have done, and I think a lot of when we were past episodes when we were talking about this, what they should have done is go back to Paul McGann's Eighth Doctor and give him more of a flesh of a story that he could have.
But I do think that Paul McGann looks as young and as good as he did back in 1996, so I think a TV show with Paul McGann would work.
That'd be cool.
I do. I think he's the only doctor that would work bringing him back to TV.
And instead of having when Doctor Who goes off the air for, they do their 13 episodes and Christmas special and then they go off the air, have Paul fill in the rest of the year.
That'd be cool. He would just be a side doctor. To do. Paul's doing a TV program right now as we speak. He's recording one.
I'm saying this is something that's an option that they could revisit.
Yeah. Okay.
It seems Facebook has a show for everybody, and it is called Science and Star Wars. Okay, that already sounds awesome. Okay? Science and Star Wars goes into the science behind Star Wars. Each week, host Anthony Cabani shows you how you can use the real-world science to explore a galaxy. Now, that sounds pretty awesome and like something that I can really sit down and watch with my children and learn something kind of cool with that one. And it's Star Wars, come on.
But is Star Wars science? I mean, if you think about it, it's more fantasy.
Yeah, science fiction.
Well, no, but it's more fantasy than
it counts for
fiction.
Something.
Star Trek is based on science. Star Wars is based in fantasy. So I'm wondering how much they can get on this, because a lot of the science in the science fiction of Star Wars is utter bull. And yes, I beeped that. I beeped that because...
But the whole idea is that we've gotten creative ideas, and Star Trek was the biggest of them all. I mean, the tricorders and all the devices they had, but even people are looking at sonic screwdrivers. What would it take to have a sonic screwdriver? I like the fact that people are looking, and we're getting closer. I mean, we might be even beating Star Trek. That one day you will take your cell phone, you're not feeling well, and you can just run a scan on yourself from your cell phone as a tricorder. Yeah. I think one day we're going to surpass the lineage of what Star Trek had. Our cell phones will be able to.
Well, from just by looking at this just a little bit, they're actually going behind the technology that they're using. Like they're dissecting 3CPO and how that would actually work in today's day. They're looking at Luke's robotic hand prosthetic and how that would work. And they're looking at some of the ships and some of the chemicals and things of that nature to see just exactly that would work or what kind of science would have to be behind that. But of course, if you want to tune in on Facebook, they will be releasing weekly episodes, The Science Behind Star Wars. And at the same time, check out Mark Who 42 on Facebook, Krypton Radio, and other media formats for all your sci-fi Whoniverse needs.
Yeah, baby.
Well, I got to see the first I don't know if it was the first episode, but I got to see the lightsaber episode, and it was really, really cool. All they're doing is trying to match the technologies. Could the technology exist today, or does the technology exist today that we can have lightsabers and Luke's arm and all these things? Does the Force work? I mean, I'm sure they're going to explore on all
the
that.
midichlorians are
Every time I hear that, I think of pool water. But I just... But they did that with Doctor Who before, didn't they? They had that one show, I think if it was, I'm mistaken, The Science of Doctor Who, and they were exploring, does the TARDIS exist? Is it real? Can you time travel? Can you have a bigger on the inside than the outside? Yeah. And what's so cool about it is that one episode, which escapes my mind right now, where the Doctor's explaining to Leela how the TARDIS works. Well, as far as interdimensional. And I was like, you know what, that even though that was a made-up thing, who says that isn't a real thing to happen?
Nardole said it again. That was the same explanation that Nardole gave. The box, and the smaller box and the larger box,
Right, but I thought, when I was a kid and I saw that, I said, wow, that kind of makes sense. And I thought that was a thing for a while. It's like, that explains why the TARDIS is bigger on the inside.
That explains why Christian got an F in science, folks.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that.
Bite me, Baumgarten.
Wow, shots fired. That was beautiful.
Bring out my lightsaber and never mind.
Sounds a lot like her feelings.
I'll lace your drink with midi-chlorians.
Yeah, exactly.
Christian, the next story is about you.
It is?
The next story is about you. Yes, it is.
Really?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a picture of you at the Golden Corral. You want to explain yourself?
Excuse me, Chinese buffet. I don't do Golden Corral anymore.
Happiness comes in 300s. I wonder what that number signifies, Christian. Okay.
The show's hit a new low, haven't we?
Oh, no, you've hit a new low.
Okay, I'll take this one on. Well, congratulations to our buddies, Happy Hour of Johnny and Deuce. They've hit episode 300 as we're approaching our 200th episode, and I got the chance to be on their show and talk Doctor Who to quite great lengths. And believe it or not, if I'm not mistaken, I think we recorded this before Hurricane Irma hit. So if you're listening to the episode, I think everything takes place right before everything hit there. And I want to add, we made mention of this on the show when Mark did the intro. For everybody who was affected also by Maria, Godspeed to you. I know I was reading the articles, and I know Puerto Rico had 100% power outage completely.
Yeah. Yep.
They were gone, and they've been devastated. So we want to give our hopes and prayers and thoughts to those folks there. Because we had mentioned Irma beforehand, and it hadn't even hit yet. But yeah, there is a link to the episode for Happy Hour of Johnny and Deuce, hashtag Deuce is on the loose. These guys are incredibly funny. They're just fun to be around. I remember working with Deuce over at Ink and Geek and just having a great time over there. We were the two podcasters. We were sitting right next to each other, and we just talked. So I think this is my second time on their show.
Yes, it is. I have both of them on my iTunes playlist.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So if you want to hear more about my discussions about Doctor Who, the future of it, and such like that off to the sideline with those guys, it's a really great interview. And if you want to start a new podcast geekdom, you definitely want to go with these guys. They're funny as hell.
Yeah. And Christian, I'm going to let you do I'm sorry, Iggy. Christian, I'm going to let you do the last story, too, because this is, very close to your heart.
This is mutiny. I'm out of here.
No, Iggy, we love you. Actually, Iggy, do you have family in Puerto Rico? Did you have
absolutely do.
Yeah,
yes, I do.
That's terrible. I hope they're all right.
What we'll find out is, unfortunately, they are not able to be reached at that moment, which is nerve-wracking. Yeah. Nerve-wracking. Yeah. Trying to... I typically hide behind humor when it comes to tough situations, so it's definitely been very awkward in my house where I'm just, I don't know, I haven't heard from my family in days. Yay! And my husband's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, that's gotta be a brutal feeling. I've been watching my friend Murder Doll Ivy cosplay, and she has been posting almost every day. She's been trying to reach out to her family that's in Puerto Rico, and then she's just devastated. The worst feeling is just not even knowing if they're okay or if they need help. But help is on the way.
From my understanding, the Navy, they have about 200 plus refugees on their boats right now to help with disaster relief. And from my understanding and the friends that I've been talking to that are out to sea see right now, it's kind of pending up in the air whether they're going to be going to Puerto Rico soon, or are they going to wait for Maria to go by completely. So that's kind of up in the air, but Puerto Rico is getting help regarding that, and they really certainly need it. I've also shared the hotline number, so if you have any family out in Puerto Rico that you can't get a hold of, please do call that hotline number because it does help. I know some people are like, well, how are they going to know?
I think I shared that number too, if I remember correctly. Okay, so Christian, tell us about the strangeness that's going on.
Yeah, this is the series finale for the...
Is it over series finale, or is it
Would you let me finish? I'll put a word in here.
All right.
Let him finale, Mark.
Let him finale it. All right, finale.
Finale.
Okay, finale the finale.
Okay, this is the two-part series finale of the first series of Strangeness in Space. Spoiler alert, of course, Sylvester McCoy plays Sophie's dad. If you're not familiar with Strangeness in Space, you can go to strangenessinspace.com, and all the episodes for the first season or series, or whatever they call it nowadays, of Strangeness in Space is on there, which includes Trevin Simon from Trevor Neal and Simon Hicks, also producer Claire Eden. All these people have actually been on our show. So
Barnaby Edwards is in it.
And Barnaby Edwards. And Sylvester McCoy, again, who plays Sophie's dad. It's an interesting twist, and it actually leaves you with an opening for a series 2 to happen. So we're going to just leave it at that.
Yeah, so if you go to Mark Who 42, you can actually get the links to the final 2 episodes.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting ending. Let me put it that way. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it was totally unexpected, and it leads you to saying, okay, there will be a series 2, or at least they left an opening wide open for a series 2. So.
Okay, and I'm a tease. All right.
Yeah. And
yes.
you're a tease. And Mark,
I didn't write this thing.
And Mark Who 42 is a sponsor of Strangeness in Space. We helped bring it to being, so we're very happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are a great bunch of guys, so please go to our website, click on the links to the episodes, or go to iTunes and type in Strangeness in Space, listen to all 6 episodes. You will have a ball. Is that all the news we have?
Yes.
Okay.
And this news segment of Mark Who 42 has been brought to you by Cosplay Convention Center. You can see more information about them at markwho42.net. The great thing about this is they are a database for cosplayers, for practically anybody who works in the convention limelight. If you're looking for us, they have a database that not only narrows down where we're going to be, but if you're looking, let's say, for Doctor Who conventions in your area, Doctor Who conventions in general, or other genres, you can go to their site and you can go into the database, narrow down your search to locations that are close by to you. It's a wonderful database tool to use if you need information about your favorite genre, your favorite podcasts, where they're going to appear, all of that. Check it out for yourself. Go down to markwho42.net and click on the icon for Cosplay Convention Center. You'll be glad you did. Tell markwho42.net sent you.
We are going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have Jamie Engel and Christine Edwards, or Kate Wars, whichever you want to call her, on our show. And after that, I didn't mention this at the top of the show, but I'm going to mention it now. We have a new feature. We're going to be reviewing and talking about the latest and some of the classic Big Finish audios in a segment we call Who's Listening? So we'll have that also, but first, of course, the interview. We'll be right back here on Mark Who 42.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Mark Who 42 is proud to have Famous Faces and Funnies. This is a huge, mega comic book store. I mean, they just have literally tons and tons of comic books, novelties, everything. They're located off of 3020 New Haven Avenue in West Melbourne. And if you want to give them a call and just let them know Mark Who 42 sent you, it's 321-259-3575. But this thing is just a huge, I mean, you've seen comic book stores and nothing against them, but you've seen them, these tiny little shops, and they have comic books and they have merchandise and memorabilia and such like that. This place is like the best term I can put is the Costco of comic book shops. You go from one store and there's another section, and it's just huge. They have Funkos. They have tons and tons and tons of stuff in there. I mean, it's hard to explain. But if you have any geekdom out there, Famous Faces and Funnies have got it. covered for you, from Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, everything. And also Rick is the guy who runs it, and all the team over there, nice, friendly people. Definitely want to check out our friends at Famous Faces and Funnies in the West Melbourne area if you're out there.
The voice of Christian Basil, take one.
Hi, I'm Christian Basil, and I would like to provide my voice for all your voiceover needs, such as...
Okay, like an announcer.
Like a what?
Like an announcer.
For all your voiceover needs, such as animation, radio, announcements, introductions...
Now an old man.
I can even record voicemail for all the Meshuggahs that call you.
A pirate.
Arr, and it won't cost you a lot of treasure for me services. Arr.
Creepy movie voice.
Just call 407-761-2679. 407-761-2679. Or email voiceofchristianbasil@yahoo.com. Well, how was that?
That's a wrap.
Hello, this is Ian Hallard, a.k.a. Alan Adale, from the Doctor Who episode Robot of Sherwood, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Welcome back to Mark Who 42 here on Krypton Radio. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. We've got Iggy Matthews and Christian Basil on our show today as our co-hosts, but we've also got our special guests. Now, these special guests, we were supposed to go to Space Coast Comic-Con a couple of weeks ago, but of course Hurricane Irma hit and they had canceled the convention. But there were two writers that were going to be there that we were going to see and say hello to. And we thought, you know what, since the convention's canceled, let's have them on the show so we can say hello to them and talk to them and also begin our Halloween month of October in style. One of them is Jamie Engel. Jamie, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, you were just on about 3 episodes ago. We have you back.
I'm stalking you and making you think it's you.
All right, I thought it was the toilet paper that was sticking to the bottom of my shoe.
Dated worse.
But we also have another horror writer. We have, and I gave both names before, but we're going to stick to one. It's Kate Wars. Hello, Kate.
How's it going?
It's going fine. So, how'd you guys handle Hurricane Irma? Did it affect you guys?
Well, it was obnoxious.
It was obnoxious. I agree. But luckily
we missed the Comic-Con.
Yeah, but luckily you were on the East Coast. Luckily you're on the East Coast of Florida.
Yes.
So.
Which I kind of feel really bad about because we were watching Governor Rick Scott, and the target, when Irma first was approaching, was going up the East Coast. And the governor was going like, okay, everybody go to west, go to west, go to west. And all of a sudden the needle moved and Orlando was the target. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, it's going to hit us at that point. And then all of a sudden the needle moved west and the governor's going, you know what, get the hell out of here. I don't even know where this thing is going. Just get out of state.
Both Jamie and Kate are horror writers. I guess fantasy horror writers. Is that correct? Horror?
Yeah, it's horror. Okay, make sure it's not horror. You got to be careful on your autocorrect. It will make that mistake.
I don't know. Both are terrifying. Both are very terrifying.
Both are terrifying. You know what? I say drawer. I say drawer. I put my clothes in the drawer in the dresser.
She is a writer of the horrific fantasy stuff.
The horrific fantasy stuff.
That would be correct, Mark.
That would be
correct.
correct.
Mark is there for Talk Like a Pirate Day.
My name is Mark.
Oh my God.
Okay, so Kate, tell us about some of the things that you have written so that we can learn about you. And we'll go back to Jamie, but I want to learn about Kate.
I write the fantasy horror minus the fantasy. So, yeah. The book that I just released last year is actually about the 30 days leading up to the zombie apocalypse.
Ooh, what's it
Kate,
called?
that's terrifying. No.
What's it called?
It's called Catalyst Decay Chains, and the idea behind it is, I don't know if you guys watch a lot of horror, but when it comes to zombies, I feel like they always leave the best part out, which is how everything evolved.
Right.
Usually it just starts with some dude waking up in a hospital bed that after all the cool stuff happens. So this captures that.
Oh, wow. So we finally find out how the zombies are created.
As funny as it sounds, I actually wrote on my Facebook page a fanfic called Rise for another genre TV show, Rise of the Walking Dead, and it actually was just 3 seasons long. And it was supposed to be the story that how everything started. And it was steeped into reality because actually the lead person finds out about bath salts. This was after like when the bath salts are placed in Florida. That's how it all started. I'm not going to go any further than that until somebody pays me for it.
Bath salts.
Bath salts.
You couldn't have said bat venom or something? No? Just bath salts. Okay. No, that's good.
That's what it was. I didn't name the thing.
This is why you're a host and not an author.
That's what.
I'm going to snort it. Oh, no, I'm a zombie.
And I read horror. Horror.
Well, as somebody
Sorry, Kate, this is what we have to deal with.
It's all right. As somebody who's interested in the genre and has actually written some about it, and somebody who's been through Irma, you might have noticed, to me, it seemed like some of those basic things that would actually occur should this go down were actually kind of happening with Irma. Did you notice that? Just that feeling with the breakdown where, your trash isn't getting picked up, you can't find gas, you can't find water, people are kind of losing it. Did you guys get that sense too?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's Florida without hurricanes. So I mean, we don't need a storm for that one.
Somebody call the fire department. That was a burn. Oh my God.
They haven't picked up my recycling in 2 weeks, and now it's growing.
Oh no, my zombie apocalypse is right here in this house.
We have historian Kate Wars here on Mark Who 42. Okay, Florida historian. No, but seriously. No,
it's actually kind of true.
Yeah, but it sounds like a very cool book. I'm going to have to pick it up. Is this an ebook, a written book, a hardcover book? Can I buy it on Amazon or your site or what?
Absolutely, all of the above.
All of the above. Cool.
Audiobooks in the works too.
Ooh, do we have any idea who's going to read it?
The original narrator wasn't able to complete the book. She was actually in a car accident, so I don't know the name of the new one that replaced it, but it's going to be through Audible, and it's through Beacon Audiobooks.
Oh, wow. Hey, and guys, if you want to try to get some Audible books, they are great to listen to. Oh, yes, I'm going to self-plug.
Yeah.
audibletrial.com/MarkWho42 and sign up for Audible books.
All right, ladies, this is where we take a shot for every time you hear Mark Who 42.
Yeah, we take a shot every time we do a self-plug. It's time to take a shot. I keep the vodka bottle right here. I don't know what they bring.
I got coffee.
I put Bailey's in that coffee. There you go.
There you go. Now, Jamie,
awesome.
We're leaving you out of it. Jamie, how have things been for you? What are you working on?
Right now, I am co-authoring a novel. It's an adult psychological thriller with a friend of mine, Keith Rommel. And then we are going to transcribe it into a screenplay because that's what he does.
Oh.
So I am so excited to not only be working on my first adult novel, but also to be working with Keith. And hopefully we'll actually see this on the big screen in a few years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is ridiculously exciting. How are you not beside yourself right now?
If you could feel my heart right now, you would not say that. I'm so excited. I want to just scream about it. And I'm actually documenting it on my YouTube channel under the Ingle Rommel Experience. We only have one video so far, but I'm wanted to try and capture the whole experience because it is really different and fun and something I haven't done before.
Wait a minute, if I could feel your heart right now, who would be stalking who at this moment?
If you could feel her heart
well,
right
Kristen.
now, yeah, she's a horror writer.
Yeah.
That's correct, Mark.
Thank you.
By the way,
okay, it sounds like angry puppies are all up in this show right now. Okay.
By the way, your missing socks are behind the couch. Just wanted to let you know.
Thank you very much.
You've been looking for those for the last 10 minutes, and I didn't want to just...
wife.
What? Yeah. No. Shut up.
You set yourself up for that, Christian.
No, I don't set myself up.
Totally
You just
set yourself up
insert.
For that. Insert. All right.
You guys are too fun.
It's Mark Baumgarten and Christian Baumgarten hyphen.
I beg your pardon. Shut up right now.
All right.
The Baumgarten Basil Experience.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
That's gonna be a ride at the.
Put that in
Disney
your back
World.
pocket. That's gonna be something one day.
Right anywhere. That better not even be a thing. I don't want that to be a thing.
Jamie,
I'm making the T-shirt for you.
I would like the T-shirt. So, Jamie, we talked about your getting into writing 4 episodes ago, but I'd like to find out from Kate how she got into writing.
Well, fiction has always been a hobby for me, but I'm actually a journalist and a historian on the outside, so writing is what I do day in and day out. Mm-hmm. Prior to that, I had a career in education where I taught reading, so this is just a natural fit for me.
What grades did you teach?
I taught all of them.
Oh, wow.
K through 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any specific books that you stressed in the high school years?
Actually, this time of year, I would teach something, I called it the Fear Unit. And it's just to try and get kids excited about the classics, I'd have them read classic horror. So, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Frankenstein, Dracula. So there's some really great graphic novel versions of them for, kids that maybe aren't ready to take on the full text, and it was always really fun. The kids look forward to it.
Read any Poe?
Not with the kids.
Not even with the high school kids? You didn't do Edgar Allan Poe?
Short form like that isn't really stressed as much in the curriculum these days, so.
Yeah, school now, you're teaching for a test. You're not teaching for education. It's kind of
It's unfortunate. It really is. I actually have two questions. Not two questions. I have a question for the both of you. I have a handful of friends that are aspiring writers, and I see them constantly struggling in writing. They're incredibly creative, and coming from 2 successful writers, I was wanting to get your input. One quote in particular that comes to mind immediately is from one of my favorite authors, Neil Gaiman, and he said that he never reads his own work because if he did, it would have never gotten published. So how do you create something in your mind, go about writing it, and surpass that writer's block to create the wonderful things that you have?
Writer's block is actually a point of contention in the writing industry. There's some people who believe fervently it exists, and there's a lot of other people who say it's just a cop-out. So I don't really know if I want to take a stance on that one at this point. I would say as far as going back and looking over your work, that's an essential part of the writing process. So during your first draft, definitely don't go near it, but taking that time to go back and look at it and revise it really does make it into a much better piece. But the trick to that is something that Jamie and I have been doing because we're writing partners, is just waiting. Don't go back and look at it the day after you finish your first draft. Put it away and come back 3 months later and you'll look at it with fresh eyes and you won't be so critical.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I of course agree with everything that Kate said because she's a genius. But besides that, I'll add that, it's something you have to just do. Of course, you love to write, but sometimes it does feel like I have to write. And that's, I think, where writer's block can be a cop-out. But if you were to be a surgeon and you say, I just feel inspired to do heart surgery today, that would be scary as hell. So you have
that's how you get zombies. That's how you get zombies.
Exactly. So you have to treat it like this is my job if you want to get paid like it's your job. If you want it to just be a hobby, then you get writer's block and you go find something else to do for a while. So for me, if I want to get paid like this is my career, then I have to work 9 to 5 plus weekends. I have to treat it like it's a career. So for anyone who's an aspiring writer, just write everything, write stupid stuff, write, bad stuff, but just write every day. And then it won't feel like you're forcing it anymore.
Interesting. Thank you for that input.
Thank you for the question.
This is when I wrote plays a long time ago, some of the stuff I wrote was actually written around something that I heard. So I'd actually write down either jokes or lines or stuff that I thought were pertinent to things that I've heard, and then I would actually work the story around what those lines that I've heard.
That's awesome.
And if they worked with the character, then I use them. If they didn't work, then I just put them off to the side and use them for another player, another character that I would put in there. But sometimes it's just those moments, and they're hard to get. I haven't written plays, I think, in 20 years now. So I'm taking the ultimate cop-out right now.
Well,
the ultimate writer's block. But I just haven't, some people have to be inspired. Some people have to get, I hate writing a great story 3/4 of the way. Now how am I supposed to end this? I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm notorious for looking at, because I'm not necessarily a writer as I enjoy to draw. I enjoy painting. I enjoy doing things like that. And I'm notorious for looking at a painting going, well, what's the full story behind that? And so then my mind gets to racing and I'll jot something down. And 3 months later, I'm like, what is this toilet paper? What?
Speaking of toilet paper.
Bring
it back.
We had the same segue. We had the same thing there.
Do I have to take a shot now?
Yeah, I think so. I think we all take a shot. Here we go.
Yeah. Go ahead. Help yourself to the tequila on your desk, though.
Yeah, the tequila that we provided for you guys. All right.
Mark Who 42 is not liable for any bad decisions that you consume.
We need you to sign. Okay. In celebration of Halloween, which is coming up this month because we're on the first week of October right now. And let's talk about Toilet Papers again. Toilet Papers is a book of horror and fantasy that you can read while you're using the facilities.
Toilet paper?
Toilet paper. And there are things for ones and there are things for twos to read.
Oh, so it's like adult Goosebumps.
Yeah. So, and I thought what would be cool is if you could read us one of the ones so that we could get a feel for your book. If you could do a reading for us.
Share a leak with us.
Yes, definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's just so you know, it's a short story collection, and the stories are separated by word count. So that way, if you just have to go a little, there's a section called number 1. But if you're going to be a while, then you have to find something over 5,000 words in the far from poopin' section.
Yeah.
So this...
I don't want to be the far from poopin'. I want to stand up and listen to this.
Mark, at some point you're going to be hungover from all these plugins, and you're going to be there for a minute. Okay.
And then, yeah, we got the audio. We got to do the audio version. So this is from number 1. This is called Roadside Vendor. I drove 3 counties to try one. Greasy meat cooking from the sidewalk stand, pumped out like an aphrodisiac. I ordered a double. Too late. Sold out. I stood planted, not going anywhere. The vendor smiled. Follow me. I make you special. He led me to an alley, a side door, a blackout. I came to when my foot hit the grinder. Mechanical teeth munching, making me minced meat. The vendor watched. I make you special, he repeated. Wish I'd told someone where I went, but they'll never find me now, unless they drive 3 counties and order a double.
You literally just blew my mind. No, that escalated so quickly. Oh my God.
My Catholic life just came up and goes, a reading from the Toilet Papers from the book
I am
of
only
Jamie
utilizing the drive-through from here on out. No.
I never asked you the question on this, or did we? And I don't remember. So is it roll up or roll down?
You didn't ask that.
Oh yeah, I'm for the roll should come straight down over the front.
Thank God.
Oh,
thank God, because that's the way.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it.
Any other way, you're just a heathen. Okay, I don't understand how you could do it any other way.
We got to use 2 hands. If it's on the back, you have to use the 2 hands, one to hold it, one to pull it, and it just gets too much
the only
work.
acceptable reason to have underhanded toilet paper is if you have cats.
Christian,
Okay, that is the only reason.
Christian, now you can say your famous line, I think we've hit a new low. Okay, so...
we've done that last...
I know,
109 some odd episodes.
I think this was it. So...
Okay, but I do see a problem, okay, because I am notorious for lack of self-control when it comes to reading. Many a times I have gone into the bathroom and I'm like, all right, just this chapter. Okay. And then, well, of course, authors are greedy. They want all of your time. They want all of your attention. So, of course, why would chapter 1 end nicely? It obviously has a cliffhanger that leads to the next chapter and the next chapter. So before you know it, my family's thoroughly concerned that I might have a serious medical problem because I have been in there for 2 hours. Okay, so that's the only problem that I anticipate when it comes to stuff like that.
Bring in a whoopee cushion. Just play with it. That's all.
Well, that's just going to make it worse.
Yeah.
The family's listening.
If you're going to make it happen, make it happen.
Oh, my God. Now we hit a new low.
Start the rumors.
I'll just start playing moving sounds off my phone.
Downhill.
What in me?
Kate, I got a question for you. What does your geek cred card look like? What do you got on it? Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who?
It's like street cred, but for geeks.
Yeah, geek cred.
Oh, that took me a second. I don't know that it's necessarily that geeky. I'm really more into The Walking Dead and stuff of that nature.
Okay.
A little bit of Sherlock. I don't know if it's okay to talk about that on.
Sherlock is totally acceptable.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So, I would definitely say I am Sherlocked, but yeah, I think that's about it. I'm really more of a reader, so it kind of takes up a lot of my watching TV time.
No, it's even better to talk about Sherlock because the showrunners of Sherlock with Cumberbatch are the showrunners that are currently running Doctor Who. So that's our game here.
And that's part of the reason why I'm struggling to get into Who, because I'm like, if I get as addicted as I did to Sherlock, I will never leave my TV. I will just be stuck forever and ever and ever.
Well, you got 800 episodes and 13 doctors now to choose from. So where do you want to start?
Don't do it, Kate. Don't do it.
Say no to drugs. Remember, you got taught.
And that's why I won't get into like Game of Thrones or any of that stuff either, because I'm like, I see people, they were my friends, and now I just don't see them anymore. And it's because they
got dark circles around their eyes. They haven't slept in days. Yeah, no, it's bad. They need rehab for Game of Thrones.
I don't watch it for Firefly. And what do you think? Just like I get the cliff notes, so I get the note. You know, I watch my friends as they post things and they talk about things, so I get the cliff notes. So I can tell you about Game of Thrones and what's happened on Game of Thrones, but I can't go into the specifics. But I think I know enough that I don't need to ride 8 seasons. But I'm sure I will. I actually started and I just got into episode 4 and I stopped. It's just finding time for this stuff. That's the hardest part.
You should write a book about how you stopped, because that could help a lot of people.
I'm good to stop, but I don't know how to start again.
Step 1, don't pay your cable bill. Step 2, don't pay your Wi-Fi bill.
Yeah.
Step 3, road to recovery.
Yeah, that would do it.
That was a fast book. Well done.
That was a pen.
No, it was a 3-part series. That's a 3-part series.
No. That was a chapter in the toilet papers.
Yeah, that's about that long.
Cool.
I don't know. The only toilet paper series that I have even come close to doing is when I'm upset with my daughter. And just tell me a story. I don't want a book read. I just want you to come up with one. And I'm just, you're being a little snot right now. And I know what you're doing. Okay. Once upon a time, they all live happily ever after. The end. Good night. I love you. Bye.
Well, there's a book with a bad word in it for kids like that.
Go The Freedom to Sleep.
Yeah,
that's correct.
There you go. We have that book in our library. Actually, we have 2 versions because I work at a library. We have 2 versions of that book. We have the children-friendly book in the children's section, and we have the correct version in the regular section.
Hot Topic, Spencer's. Yes, that's where you can find that one.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Jamie and Kate, this is the Halloween month. What do you guys have planned for Halloween? What do you do for Halloween as horror writers?
Well, I'll start this and then I'll pass it on to Kate, because I know we planned a little before we got on the show, Mark, because that's how we roll. We're outliners.
I can tell, yeah.
So Kate and I are both invited out to SpookyCon in Orlando the last weekend of the month, and we're both going to be on at least 4, I think Kate's on 6 panels.
Wow.
And we'll be out there with our books and, just sharing about women in horror and podcasting horror and just all kinds of really awesome Halloween-y kind of things. And we want people who heard about SpookyCon on this show to come say hi to us, because we will have something special just for the Mark 42 Whovians. That come over and say that they heard us on the show. And Kate will tell you more about it.
I'm going to be up in Orlando that weekend. I probably should stop
Wait a minute,
by. I might stop by and just say hi.
You don't get the free thing, Mark, because you're the show. So
Yeah.
Is SpookyCon part of the Spooky Empire?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I've been hearing that, but nobody says Spooky Empire. They say SpookyCon. That's been driving me insane.
Well, we're happy to oblige.
Oh, okay, thanks.
But Kate has all the info about when, where, why.
Kate, when, or why?
Oh, well, that's an easy one. It's October 27th through the 29th at the Hyatt Regency in Orlando, so it's on iDrive.
All right.
We're super excited. And a little Halloween Horror Nights will be in the mix for me and my family as well. I know you guys just went a couple of times. Just a couple, right, guys?
I've been there a couple times.
Christian's been there a couple times. My kid was just there on Saturday. He was just there, and he had a great time. I was a little too scared, so I didn't go. No, actually, the reason I didn't go was because my kid wouldn't be caught dead with me there. That's how it works when you have...
How old is your child?
17.
There you go. Makes sense.
Makes sense. He doesn't want us there. So I was just at a bar drinking with my...
Yeah, that works. That can be just as scary, really.
We were just drinking with my lady. Yeah.
The problem with Halloween Horror Nights is sometimes you can't determine who the scare actors are and who's really there to have fun.
That's what I
the
don't
same
like.
walking down the
See,
street.
that's how people get punched. Okay.
Exactly.
That is exactly how injury happens.
I went last year for the first time, and for me, the houses were scary, but Christian and I were talking yesterday, there's a lot of jump scares. What scared me the most were those freaking fuzzy bird things on stilts walking around, and they would just creep up on your shoulder, and you'd turn your head, and there'd be this bird thing on top of you, and that scared me more than anything else.
The stilt walkers are back.
Stilts are scary.
It's not that. They figured out how to swoop down to you.
Yes.
It's almost like they just stand there and you'll walk by, and then all of a sudden, within a split second, I don't know how they contort their body, but wham, they're right in your face. I'm like, whoa, hey, hi there.
Yeah, it's not cool. They should not be allowed to do that.
Which means they should add more to every...
That's correct. If you're Halloween Horror Night people, if you're listening, Universal Studios, we would like more stilt-walking creatures, please. And you can sponsor the show if you're interested. You can sponsor the show.
That would be nice. For those of you who may not be familiar with Halloween Horror Nights, we were kind of joking about it, but Halloween has started earlier for our theme parks. I mean, back when it was the end of September. Mickey's Halloween party started August 25th.
Yeah, not so scary.
Yeah, well, they sell out every night. That's the thing. Halloween Horror Nights started this year, September 15th. And it's Universal Studios, and it's really terrifying. And it is two different worlds. Mickey's is supposed to be for the kids, supposed to be for the whole family. It's just playful scare. Mm-hmm. And Universal Studios, you are supposed to get the scared out of you. So yeah, I did bleep that. Yeah, so it's
the whole show is bleeped. It's been redacted. The whole show has been redacted. Every word is coming.
It's like Morse code.
Yeah, it's Morse code. We're doing the show.
Oh no, that's what I sound like when I get nice and peed off. Okay, it's beep 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 beep. The Navy's over here like, we're getting something, sir. Listen.
I've seen grown 21-year-olds go walk through the house, and charge right out the exit. Just fly out the exit.
It's scary.
It's really terrifying.
It's amazing, though.
But yeah, it is. It is also.
So is that anything like Universal Studios and that haunted house experience? Because the last time that I lived in Florida, I was a child. I was in Orlando, and I went to Universal Studios in California. And a really awful, terrible friend of mine decided to tell me that this was a museum, and it wasn't. And by the time I was in there, it was too late. And I guess my reaction was enough for every employee in that facility to go after me, and it was not a pleasant experience. So if it's anything like that, I support you. I hope that you're safe. I hope that you enjoy yourself. I will be over here in my Snuggie and
Halloween. Universal Hollywood has got the same thing. They've got their own version of it. I don't know if it's called Halloween Horror Nights, but they've got something similar to it.
And Christian, in days past, they were allowed to physically touch you, and
they can't do that
now
anymore.
They can't. Yeah,
because that's how people get hurt.
Well, I think they had a couple heart attacks or something. Yeah.
Well, I think zombie.
Did they? I thought they weren't allowed to touch.
No, they're not allowed anymore.
Not
they used to be.
No, I meant back then they weren't to touch. Well, I guess they changed it. They're really getting to your space now. It used to be a couple of years ago. They wouldn't get as close to you, or at least I didn't perceive that they wouldn't get as close to you. Now they get into your face.
Yeah, no, listen, I don't appreciate anything that makes me sound like a dying turkey, okay? Literally every... Okay, no, I'm not doing it in front of my friend. No, thank you.
I know some Walker friends that would love to see you, Iggy.
Oh, my God.
Also, this is, for people who may not be aware, this is also the last year of the Bill and Ted Show. They've been running, I think, 26, 27 years.
Yeah, it's
the
sad.
Bill and Ted Show is basically a focal point that Bill and Ted are the stars of the show, and they spoof on the current events that are going on at that moment. There,
just be excellent to each other.
Party on.
What if Bill and Ted 3 ever comes out? I mean, then they're going to be like, "Oh, we canceled our own show, and we we can't do it anymore.
You think that they're going to run out of John Wicks that he's got to go back and do a third episode? I think he's still riding high, even though, I still haven't forgiven him for the Dracula movie. I mean, he's still got, John Wick 10 to get to. So
are there 10
Keanu's
John
doing
Wick
fun.
books? Speaking of Wick books.
Great.
Ooh, do I have to take a shot?
Jamie is one of our sponsors here at Mark Who 42, and you can get her books and her scented candles by going to therighteangle.com. That's TheWriteEngle.com. It's a great site. You can buy some really cool things. Tell us about it, Jamie.
Yeah, well, I mean, all my books are available, and almost all of them are paperback, ebook, and audiobook. I think the only one that's not audiobook yet is The Toilet Papers.
Right.
I do have several of those stories on my podcast that I read if they're related to the topic, and that's at Podcast Origins on iTunes and SoundCloud, or at podcastorigins.com. And then the Wick books are something that I invented, and they are story-scented candles that are tailored to a specific scent from one of my novels. So you can actually burn the candle while you're reading the book to experience the whole story, or if you ever want to go back into that world, you can just light the candle and be transported.
Which I'm kind of worried about what the toilet paper smells like.
That's what everybody says. I was thinking like maybe match
Lavender
scent.
Fresh.
Yeah, maybe
Lavender
strawberries and
Fresh.
cream.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Turkey.
No, that just reminded me.
Turkey?
That reminded me of back when I was in the Navy. Me and friends of ours, we stayed at a hotel, and so one of the guys decided to utilize the bathroom and not mention what it is that he was doing. And so when he opens the bathroom, oh my goodness, we found out very quickly. And then he utilized one of the girls' perfume, Burberry Spritz. So we forever called it Burberry.
Oh,
And
so lovely.
no one got the punchline there because we beeped that.
I
Take
think
some
I
fun
got
out of
the
it, don't
gist
we?
of it.
We're taking the fun out of everything because we have that non-explicit tag. We want children to listen to our show.
Where do you think they learn these things from?
I know, really. I mean, children use these words all the time. How is that explicit?
That's a different show.
Yeah.
That would be
Kiki.
my show. Mine is incredibly explicit.
Oh, yeah.
Kate, can you tell us a little bit about KateWars.com?
Well, the site gives everybody an opportunity to just learn a little bit more about what I'm currently working on and the different aspects of Catalyst, some of the information about reviews. It was the Publishers Weekly Book Life Prize in Fiction semifinalist last year. It was the only horror novel to make it that far in the competition. So it goes into a little bit of information about that. And it gives you an opportunity to read a preview and just kind of get a feel for it, decide if these zombies are your zombies.
I think I'm going to get Catalyst Decay Chains on Kindle because it's available.
It's also on sale on Kindle.
On Kindle, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to get it on Kindle. I just got the link right here.
So you don't even have to pay full price there. That's more better.
And if I can brag a bit, because Christine has a background, a military background, and I absolutely love how her main character utilizes Christine's military experience, because it's the escape from the zombies and just trying to get away from everything and to build this little community to fight back. All of it is tainted with her military perspective that I don't have as a civilian. So reading her story from Stormy's, which is her main character, Stormy's voice is so unique. And I think that's what sets her zombie book apart from other zombie books, is that military background. It just makes it so real.
Why, thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome. Take a shot.
Yeah.
You'll be drunk off your ass.
Hey, listen, I swear I didn't drunk. I'm not God, okay? So.
And yes, I can say now the show has hit a new low.
The show is low.
So where do we go from
I
here?
breathe into this machine and now run a show.
Zombie.
I love that song. That's one of my favorite songs, the Cranberries.
My husband hates that song.
Oh,
Every
I
time
love
he
it.
just makes this ugly face, and he's like, nah, zombie. I'm like, oh, it's fun. It's not that bad.
Zombie.
It sounds like she's on the toilet. I'm sorry. Right in the toilet.
Oh, So where do we go from
anyway,
here?
we're doing a podcast, right?
Yeah.
This is so much fun. Let's keep doing this.
Let's do this all day long.
Do 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 do.
Nom.
Do 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 do. Zombies.
Zombies.
We've been doing
Anyway,
this
you
all
go
show.
to both of their websites and sign up for their email newsletters.
Oh, definitely.
I
Sign up
just
for their
find
email
something about
newsletters,
it.
and you can find out
Getting really
what's
bad
coming up in their lives. And
You
don't forget to go to Spooky Empire in 3 weeks. 3 weekends or 4 weekends from now. The last weekend of October. It's going to be fun and exciting and spooky.
It's really cool because it's a Comic-Con, but it focuses on all things horror.
Mm-hmm.
Horror. And when I read that online, that was so intriguing to me because, I love going to Comic-Cons, and to have one that just focuses on the bad guys, that's just really a cool concept. So I'm excited to check it.
I will be trying to read the Catalyst book. And, Kate, if you don't mind, if I post a review on that, my thoughts and my experience on that, I have my own little company called Let's Be Reals, and we're notorious for keeping it reals. And this sounds
okay, we
just
gotta
right
take
up my
another
alley.
drink. Take another drink.
You said I could.
Well, I only have one, going back. I only have one criticism for Spooky Empire. It's not really a criticism; it's just an interesting because they look like they're going in a different direction too. A year or two ago, they had Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay. The only thing I can think of is that movie where he squeals like a pig or whatever the hell that movie was. Deliverance. Yeah. I said, I guess that counts. But this year they've got Lonnie Anderson. I'm like, okay, what's she done that's spooky?
She married Burt Reynolds.
That's kind of that's
she was
just stroke her
something
age,
with her
dude.
husband. So I don't care about Burt Reynolds. Why would I?
So, apparently,
but Lonnie Anderson, I loved her on WKRP in Cincinnati. She was great.
I think you guys might be missing the reason Reynolds was there.
Why was Reynolds besides Deliverance?
Well, no, he did that spread in the magazine. That is terrifying. I mean,
and that's scary.
Oh, wow.
Okay, too much
I can't do a
information
spread.
there.
Jabba the Hutt really let himself go this time around.
No.
Christian, weren't you just on something that we called the Big 300 or something? I don't know.
Or yes.
Yes.
Happy hour of Johnny and Deuce. Yep. I said Deuce.
Johnny Womack and Kyle Deuce.
Anyway, where are we going with this?
We're going...
Guess which one is his
I'll
favorite.
tell you where we're going. We're going into the final moments, the speed round of the Jamie and Kate interview. Christian, go first. And that's why we call it the speed round. Okay. So, Kate, what do you have coming up in the near future?
actually, Jamie and I are going to both be appearing in about 5 or 6 different places. So if you go to my website, you can see the different appearances. The first one, obviously, is SpookyCon. And I think the next one after that might actually be Authors in a Box. Jamie, am I right?
Yeah, in December. I believe that's the next one.
But, I mean, what kind of book are you writing next? What's your next project?
I'm writing another horror, and it's called House of Bodies.
Ooh.
It's not zombie related, but it's definitely, looking at that line right between living and dead. There's a guy who's very...
Oh, okay. So it's about me waking up in the morning without coffee. I can relate.
I think you and I, it very much, if they did a movie of it, maybe we could take on some of the lead parts in there. But it just, this guy was a very unique job, and it causes a lot of problems, and it's pretty grotesque. So it's not going to be for everybody, but for those who enjoyed Catalyst and the more gruesome moments in it, then they're probably going to have a heyday with this one when it's done.
And Jamie, you said you were going to be working on that book that's going to turn into a movie. Hopefully.
Yep, with Keith Rommel. It's called To the Finder. It's about a detective who is trying to solve a string of murders, and for some reason she thinks that they are being done by one person, by a serial killer, and then she receives a letter that's sent to her, and she doesn't know who it's from, but they say they know her from her past. And it's talking about the serial killer. So now she's on a mission. Yeah, and it's twisted and dark and creepy. And there's some really... Yes, and adult. And there's some really gruesome scenes from an alternate... chapters from like an alternate part of the past. And it's just awesome.
All right.
And if you want to check out their web presence, Kate Wars, the way it sounds and spells, katewars.com for Kate herself. And if you want to check out Jamie, you can just actually go to markwho42.net. We have an icon for you to click on to get to Jamie's site and check out her stuff. Both sites you can sign up for their newsletter.
Yeah, mine's quarterly. Mm-hmm.
Yours is quarterly? Well, you'll get newsletters for both of them. Just sign up and you get the information and updates and all of that. And again, we want to thank Jamie Engel for being our sponsor. Go get her stuff and tell her that MarkWho42 sent you, especially now the toilet papers. And also check out Kate Wars' site as well, katewars.com.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank both Jamie Engel and Kate Wars, or as I like to call her by her real name, Christine Edwards.
Well, thank you, ladies. It's been a pleasure.
I keep biting my tongue on. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it. I want to thank you for coming on our show, our first of our Halloween shows here on Mark Who 42.
Thank you. It's always fun.
All right, and definitely we'll have you come back when you have more to tell.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan.
When we come back, we are going to have our new segment, Who's Listening, where we talk about Big Finish Audios, giving you a review with, well, you'll just have to stick around to find out right after these messages.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Hey, Mark, are you busy?
Well, I'm kind of doing my podcast right now, honey.
I want to show you this website. I saw these cool things at Florida SuperCon, and the website is www.drwhocrystals.com. You know my birthday's coming up.
It is. Let me type it up right now.
So do you see this? They are laser engraved crystals with pictures of the Doctor in the TARDIS. I want one for the living room. I've always wanted to have a TARDIS in the living room, but I've always been afraid that it's going to look like a,
But, these look really good. I mean, they're 100% crystal, and it looks like Peter Capaldi. And I know that at Florida SuperCon, these guys, because I did meet them, and these guys got the rights to Peter Capaldi's likeness. They've had the likeness of the first and second Doctor. They've made them. Really want one of these?
Yeah, I've heard that they work closely with the BBC to get the pictures just right, and we really have to order one. It only weighs about 3 pounds. It's a real thing of beauty, okay? It looks elegant, and you have to check it out. Their website is www.drwhocrystals.com, and they are so affordable, Mark, that I want one for my birthday. And then, in a couple of months, the holidays are coming up. Get one for me then, too.
You got it, hon.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Briggs, the voice of many monsters on Doctor Who, and executive producer of Big Finish Productions. And I'm pleased to announce that Mark Who 42 books have joined forces with Big Finish to bring you Big Finish Audio.
There's this fella who calls himself the Doctor, and he says he has saved me, and we are in his time machine.
You're right. I think I've broken something. What about you?
Yes, I'm fine, thanks.
I rather think I broke your fall.
Oh, sorry.
Mark Who 42 books will now offer to bring you the best in Big Finish audio.
But why are they here?
How do you do?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, no need to. I'm the Doctor, and this is...
I am Leela.
By all means, please do come out to play, Doctor. I'm waiting for you.
To find where Mark Who 42 books will be, go to markwho42.net or on their Facebook site at markwho42.
What are you saying? They fizzled in somehow? Like the TARDIS?
Yeah, transmat from another dimension. The TARDIS doesn't fizzle. It's more of a...
Also go to markwho42.net and download my interview with the team.
You're executive producer at Big Finish Productions.
Correct.
Correct.
Is this a quiz?
Mark Who 42, taking you to the WHOniverse and beyond.
This is Ingrid Oliver, a.k.a. Osgood, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Welcome back to more of Mark Who 42 here on Krypton Radio. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and it's time, like I promised, for the first of our new segments. Yes, we have a new segment on Mark Who 42 called who's listening. And we should listen to Big Finish, I'll tell you that. And with that, we have our Big Finish reviewer, Christopher Baggott. Hello, Chris.
How's it going, Mark?
It's going great. So we were deciding what we would start with on the Big Finish reviews, and I thought that we should go with the latest ongoing episodes. So we're going to start with number 229. Can you believe there have been that many so far?
Honestly, when I look at my Big Finish webpage and I see that I've got 463 releases to look through, yeah, I really easily can.
Oh, I have more than that. It's The Silurian Candidate, starring Sylvester McCoy. And this is part of the series where Sylvester McCoy, the Seventh Doctor, is traveling with both Sophie Aldred and Bonnie Langford. They picked Mel back up somewhere down the line.
That is correct. They picked Mel back up about 3 episodes ago in this particular continuing storyline, just after she left Savalon Glitz.
Now, folks, don't run away at this point going, Mel, oh, we didn't like Mel. Mel's a good character.
And she's especially good with the combination of Sylvester and Sophie. I just wish that they had had the 3 of them together on the television show for more than just Dragonfire.
Yeah, I liked her in Dragonfire, and I liked the character. I didn't like the way they wrote for her with her screaming and stuff, but she doesn't do that on these, does she?
Not at all. And my least favorite part of Mel was always her clothing, and you don't have to look at that in this, so...
Well, it was the 80s. It was the 80s. We were all dressed well. Well, anyway, let's get to it. Tell us a little about the Silurian Candidate. And just to let you folks know, because we want you to listen to these episodes, these are all non-spoiler reviews here on Who's Listening. So go ahead.
Well, the Silurian Candidate begins with Mel and Ace in the TARDIS talking about how the Doctor has changed since Mel left and how he's become a much darker and secretive Doctor, which is very much in keeping with how Big Finish has developed the Seventh Doctor into the mastermind that he is.
Yeah.
The man who always has the plan. And it turns out that the Seventh Doctor has just changed course from some place that they were headed to go back to Earth about 100 years after Mel left. So we're at roughly the 2080s-ish.
Okay.
And in this time frame, if you know your original series pretty well, you have the Eastern Coalition and the Western Coalition, which have split up the Earth between the two of them.
We're talking Warriors of the Deep.
In fact, Warriors of the Deep has taken place just a few months before this episode occurs, and it is referred to several times in the episode. Now, what is going on is that they're headed for China to a relatively unknown ancient temple which supposedly predates human existence. This temple, as you can probably tell from the title, was built by the Silurians.
Oh, okay.
The Doctor is still very much broken up about what happened in Warriors of the Deep and how he had to kill off a whole bunch of sea devils. If you're familiar with the episode, you know that the Fifth Doctor didn't want to do that.
There had
he
to
wanted
be another way.
Yeah, he was looking for another way, just like how later on the 11th Doctor tries to find a way to get the Silurians and the humans together during the 11th Doctor's era. Once again, here is Sylvester trying to find a way to bring Silurians and humans together. I really hate using the term Silurian, though.
Yeah, Silurian, I mean, that's the name that we gave them. I don't know why they even use it. When Stephen Moffat brought him back, he should have came up with a real name, you know.
Technically, they are Homo reptilia.
Yeah.
And in this episode, the Silurian Candidate, you actually have Silurians in several different places refer to the fact that the word Silurian is a misnomer.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, which I believe it is the first time that they've ever actually had Silurians say that. Couldn't tell for certain, though. Anyway, they head off for this temple, and Mel decides to stay in the TARDIS. So Ace follows the Doctor because this is before she starts traveling with Hex, which is a whole nother storyline that many of the listeners may not be aware of. But this is still very early in Ace's time period, and she's yet to develop 100% of trust for the Doctor, especially following the events of Ghostlight.
Right.
So she follows the Doctor because she's not sure that he's going to be doing something that she particularly agrees with. Mel stays behind in the TARDIS because she wants to learn Spanish. But in a funny little bit, she figures out that all of her Spanish tapes don't work in the TARDIS because of the TARDIS's telepathic communication.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's a good point. You couldn't...
Which I thought was a hilariously funny moment when she's like, how has it helped me to know that, yes, I would like a sangria in Spanish translates to, yes, I would like a sangria. So she starts searching for a way to turn the telepathic circuits off, and while she's doing it, a massive jet flies overhead that actually shakes the TARDIS. And she goes out to investigate, and of course gets captured by these two people who are headed to this Silurian temple, and you don't find out for quite a while what the actual reasoning is behind why they're going there. But it turns out that this ancient temple has been there for so long that the metal it has made out of has become covered with rock. So it looks like it's made out of stone, even though it's actually made out of metal. Mm-hmm. The Doctor uses a sonic screwdriver to activate a lift, which is several million years old, which, when it starts moving, all the stone crumbles off of it, and Ace is like, oh my god, it's made of metal. Totally surprised. They start heading down to the Silurian base, which is 100 meters below the surface. Once they get down there, the lift starts going back up, and Ace and the Doctor are like, basically guess that it's Mel following them, and they wait for Mel to show up. Turns out she shows up with these two new people, a scientist whose name actually escapes me at the moment.
Roof Drexler?
That's the one, yeah. And an adventurer sort of guy who does not really live very long because they encounter another one of those genetically modified Tyrannosauruses.
Oh, yeah.
Fortunately, they have two security androids with them, which are both played by the same person. They're called Carla androids. And they look just like humans, but they're extremely more powerful, and they have weapons on their arms. So they shoot down the Tyrannosaurus thing, and through a series of events, which I'm not going to get into because there's a whole lot of spoilers in there, we come to find out that this is the capital of the Silurian people from back in the ancient times. This is where the seat of their government sat. And in this base is the Silurian Parliament. Apparently, it is controlled by a triad, and the Doctor is trying to find a way to bring the triad back from the hibernation to communicate with them and to come up with some sort of a treaty or something like that. He's very vague as to what he's actually doing. Now, Ace manages to figure out that she thinks the Doctor's just going to give Earth to the Silurians. So she spends the entire episode very much against the Doctor. It's a very strange role for Ace to be in. She's constantly second-guessing every choice that he makes, and the only reason she doesn't tell Mel or the others around them what's going on is because she's learned to be as secretive as the Doctor. If you listen to The Big Finish, you see the development of the Ace character is a very complex storyline that she has evolved so far. Turns out that the Silurian Parliament had already awakened, and that the scientist who's down there was actually there trying to get her hands on Silurian hibernation technology, because, as you should remember from Warriors of the Deep in that era, that's right before the Earth starts to become nearly uninhabitable.
Right.
And this scientist believes that the only way to save humankind is to give the hibernation technology of the Silurians to both the Eastern Bloc and the Western Coalition together so that humankind can escape Earth. It's an interesting concept.
Interesting concept. I like the fact that they make the title of the episode kind of like the Manchurian Candidate. I'm assuming there's more to it in that.
Yeah. It very much gets into that. Because it turns out that the Silurian Triad had awakened 5 years previously and was awake during the events of Warriors of the Deep.
Okay.
And I'm not going to tell you which one, but the reason it's titled the Silurian Candidate is one of the leaders, either the Eastern or the Western Coalition, has been replaced by a Silurian brainwashed agent.
Okay, so we definitely have a Manchurian Candidate kind of thing in here. That's cool.
Oh, it's very much so, yes.
Yeah. Now, these stories with Ace and Mel, like we said, they work well together. I think that the Silurian Candidate is something that our fans should go to bigfinish.com and either download it or buy a copy, because, I mean, it sounds like a great story.
It's not only a great story, but it is actually a very necessary connecting piece in the Silurian story. Gives you a very good idea as to why Matt Smith's Doctor was so intent upon trying to find a way for Silurians and humankind to live together. And, as you know, when they showed back up in the 11th Doctor era, we hadn't seen them in decades.
No, we hadn't.
So there's all this time between the two that we now have to make up for, and Big Finish is doing that.
Well, Big Finish does a great job with that. All right, so any final words you want to say about the Silurian Candidate?
I want to say that I definitely think it is, I would put it on my my rating scale, which I do a 1 to 13 rating scale, 13 doctors. 13 doctors. I would say I'd give it about an 11 out of 13 and definitely highly recommend it.
All right. So, gang, you heard the first installment of Who's Listening. We'll be right back with more of Mark Who 42. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
This portion of Mark Who 42 has been brought to you by Harley Quinn Cosplay and Crafts. You can go to our site right now, markwho42.net, and click on her icon. Make sure to use promo code MarkWho42 for free shipping of any of her cosplay images and merchandise. And you will see Amelia Poole. Yeah, that's her real name. Amelia Poole, who runs the site. She's going to be at the Space Coast Comic-Con and a lot more other conventions coming up on the Space Coast. She usually hangs around there at Central Florida. Gorgeous woman. Absolutely gorgeous. You got to see her Harley Quinn cosplay. You got to see her Dana from Ghostbusters. I mean, just a beautiful woman on that. And she actually does some crafts, including, I guess, what they call the Cobb hat, the Firefly hat that Jane Cobb uses. Right. She's got merchandise up there. Check it out. Tell her once you see her anywhere, Mark Who 42 sent you.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Jamie Engel was on our show the other week, and she is our newest member of the Mark Who 42 sponsored family. Jamie Engel is an award-winning author of science fiction and horror novels and stories. The Toilet Papers, a book that she wrote, is a collection of short stories ranging from 50 words to more than 5,000 to match your bathroom needs. But here are some other facts that you may not know about her. She cosplays Marty McFly Jr., Wonder Woman, Garth from Wayne's World, and Trinity from The Matrix. She speaks to kids about bullying and to authors about writing and marketing their books. She once owned a body shop, managed a hip-hop band, and danced at the Aloha Bowl halftime show. Wow, that's really cool. But without coffee, the world would end. So definitely you should read some of Jamie Engel's work, and you can if you go to her website, therighteangle.com. THEWRITEENGLE.com. And don't forget, follow her on Instagram at The Right Angle.
And I'd like to say right now, Mark Who 42 is proud to have 9.9 Comics as a sponsor for our show. 9.9 Comics, if you're out in Brevard County, this is one of the places to go and visit. They've just started recently, and they're located off of 1284 Sarno Road in the Melbourne area. They're starting out, but I met Matt and the team, and they are just really, really, as far as customer service is concerned, phenomenal. It's a really great store. They were telling me about a point system, Mark, and forgive me, I'm not familiar with it, but that's where the 9.9 comes from. When you go to a comic book store, some comics are just laying out there loose and for everybody to read and such like that. And every time somebody picks it up, it kind of depreciates over time. Not in this store. Every comic is protected. In fact, you can't even read the comics. They're all protected for your pleasure. So if you want to keep these comics for longevity and possibly later on try to sell them to make money off of them, they have every comic sealed up and protected. It's just phenomenal. Not only that, but one of the things I love about this comic shop is they sponsor the Candlelighters of Brevard. Now, these folks are a nonprofit organization that take care of children in the Brevard area who are suffering from cancer. So if you want more information on them, go to www.candlelightersofbrevard.org. If you want more information about the charity that they sponsor, and definitely go on their Facebook site at 9.9 Comics. Can't miss it. Matt and the team are wonderful. Go visit them out there and tell them that Mark Who 42 sent you.
Hi, this is Norman Lovett, who played Holly in the sci-fi sitcom Red Dwarf. And
this is Danny John Jules. I'm the cat from Red Dwarf and Dwayne from Death in Paradise. And you are listening to Mark Who 42.
And we're back with more of Mark Who 42 here on Krypton Radio. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. We've got Christian Basil, and of course, we've got Iggy Matthews. Christian, before we start the convention reports, let me just announce that Time Lord Expo has been canceled. And yes, we were looking forward to that great convention in Ohio that we were going to do with all these guests, but I do have some news for all our listeners who have their hotel rooms, who have their flights, and they can't get their money back. This is word directly from the new people who are putting something on. Following the cancellation of Time Lord Expo in Ohio, Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey and Blackwood Management have decided that letting fans be disappointed is not an option. So they have put together on very short notice a fun mini-con event that will be free of charge for anyone who wishes to come. This free event will take place at Pack Rat Comics, which is located at 3872 Latimer Street in Dayton, Ohio, between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Saturday, the 14th of October 2017. They will be featuring Terry Malloy and Caitlin Blackwood, Amelia Pond, who will be available to sign autographs and take selfies for a fee, alongside private meet and greets by pre-registration only. A great mixture of vendors have been arranged, including one of our sponsors, Crystal Carvings. In addition, a cosplay contest is in the works. They will also have an exclusive, first time ever all-together viewing of the Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey experience, featuring, but in no way limited to, a letter from Patrick Troughton, a used mask on the episode End of the World, a rubber toe replica of the moment. Caitlin has kindly agreed to bring some Doctor Who memorabilia, including signed scripts from Matt Smith's first ever episode, The 11th Hour. A TARDIS has even been arranged to be there. More fun activities are being incorporated daily to make this an exceptionally fun day out for the family. This mini-con is very much an impromptu effort from the newly formed Ohio Who team, but they need help from the fan community. In order to make this a success, we need your help promoting awareness of the event. Bloggers get blogging, fans get contacting other fans, cosplayers get costuming. Start spreading the word, and let's make this a fantastic family-oriented fun event for everyone. The success of this venture is dependent on getting the word out there and the fans coming down on this day to support us. And who knows, if this is a success, next year could be a real possibility. If you go to the markwho42.net site, there is a banner ad on the right side of the screen, which you can click on to get more information on Ohio Who 2017. So please do. Also, donations will be accepted to help pay for this event at the convention. But if you can't go to the convention and you really can help the family of Caitlin Blackwood and the loss of the convention that's going there, go to GoFundMe.com/Ohio-Who-Fan-Convention and donate all you can. It's really important. So please either go or donate through the GoFundMe campaign. MarkWho42 and Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey really ask for your help. We have a great opportunity for you if you live in Florida. If you've never been to a New Year's Eve party or have gone to one but always like, yeah, we're just drinking, it's just talking, it's nothing. Well, you know, this is for you. In Tampa on December 31st, we are having the New Year's Eve Time Lord Ball. It is going to be an exciting event. It starts at 6 p.m. and it goes on to 12:30 a.m. at the Brass Mug. It's on 1450 Skipper Road in Tampa, Florida. And it's featuring Doctor Who and sci-fi on New Year's Eve. Bring in the new year with fellow Whovians at this unique and select event featuring Time Lord Rock from groups like the Ken Spivey Band, because Ken's putting this on, fan panels on the new series, and the Christmas episode, which you'll have just been on, that I will be a part of, trivia, free goodies, live music, guest performers, and from what we just found out, we will also have vending booths. So MarkWho42 will actually be selling some Doctor Who items, and other vendors will be there too. It's going to be fun for couples and singles alike. join the New Year's Eve timey-wimey Time Lord Ball. You can go to the right side of the webpage, markwho42.net, and there's a link that takes you there. Tickets are $20 pre-sale, $18 for students and military. Admission for the Time Lord Ball, if you get that, you get free admission to Time Lord Fest Tampa Bay on January 28th. So this is going to be great. And if you're an adult and you have a kid that's 10 years or younger, they get in free. This is open to all ages. Tickets are very limited, so definitely try to get your ticket now. And for you adults, and because it's New Year's Eve, a full bar will be available. Hey, it's at a bar, so yeah, it's at a bar. It's a restaurant.
Without the plug.
Kids are coming, so it can't be a bar. But, it's a restaurant, the Brass Mug. And
so it's still fun for the whole family, and then they get together and stuff. And as Marcus said, it may be in Florida, but you don't have to live in Florida to enjoy this. You can come out anywhere.
You can fly out.
If you want to have the Time Lord experience New Year's Eve, come out to Time Lord Ball this New Year's Eve and join Mark, and you're going to have a good time. And speaking of which, you slid in something.
Oh, I did?
For 2018.
2018, yeah, I did.
Mark Who 42 will be at Time Lord
Fest, Tampa. Yeah, I did slip that in there.
Exactly. So keep an eye out. And of course, conventions times are always subject to change. So keep an eye out on markwho42.net, the Facebook and Twitter page. And if you're in for it, the Instagram page that we now started. But yeah, please keep an eye out. There may be more conventions coming out throughout the rest of the year, but these are the 3 that are currently scheduled right now. The Time Lord Ball as well as Time Lord Expo. But anything can change. And now we are starting our 2018 year calendar run with Time Lord Fest.
Yeah.
So this is awesome.
Wow. Oh, it's October. It's the month of Halloween. And what are you doing on the Legend of Traveling TARDIS page, Christian?
We do, as we've done, and this will be the 5th year we're doing it, so we're really excited. Legend of the Traveling TARDIS going for its 5th year of the 31 days of Halloween. If you are a Halloween aficionado, if you're a Doctor Who fan and you like both, we're going to have Halloween music, we're going to have Halloween pictures, we're going to have past and current pictures of the Traveling TARDIS in its most spookiest forms. And you will be seeing, I posted it, if you are a part of our Instagram for the Travel TARDIS, which Legend of the Traveling TARDIS it's under, you've already seen some of the pictures from Halloween Horror Nights with the Traveling TARDIS there. If you're a big fan of the Traveling TARDIS and where it goes, go to our Facebook page, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Give us a like. You can also check out our Instagram where we'll be posting on there. And throughout the entire month of October, there'll be more pictures coming out from the past and in the present. And we're going to have music videos, movies, stuff. If you're a big Halloween fan, and also if you love Doctor Who, these 2 combinations will be riding together all 31 days on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and it just started a couple of days ago, so, go back and see what you missed, and then following it forward. All right, so that's about all the time we have for today's show. Tune in next time, and it'll be in 2 weeks. We will have another very special Halloween episode, and this episode will be hosted by Iggy Matthews, but I'm not going to let her cut in and tell you about it. You'll just have to listen yourself next time on Mark Who 42. So from all of us, have TARDIS will travel. Bye, everyone. Mark Who 42 is written and presented by Mark Baumgarten, Christian Basil, Patty Hawkins, Iggy Matthews, and Zion Kiros. This episode was edited, directed, and produced by Mark Baumgarten and co-produced by Christian Basil. Visit markwho42.net where you can register and become part of the WHOniverse Army. We can be contacted by email at mark@markwho42, subject line, ? If you'd like a chance to be a guest on our radio show, send an email to our Media Relations Director, Christian Basil, at markwho42media@yahoo.com. You can have Mark Who 42 entertain at your next event or convention. Go to heroesonhand.com/markwho42. Space Coast Comics is a free monthly magazine found in over 120 locations currently throughout Brevard County, parts of Osceola, Volusia, and Indian River County in Florida, and available in Chicago. Follow them on Facebook to learn more. Doctor Who and its properties are owned by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. This show is owned and copyrighted by Mark Who 42 Enterprises, LLC, 2017. This is Krypton Radio.